Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. Let's talk about the February 9th edition of Monday Night Raw. The show kicks off with Becky Lynch coming out to the ring, but right before she makes her entrance, she spots AJ Lee also making her return to Monday Night Raw. So, what was Becky Lynch originally going to share? She said she had a huge announcement to share, but then as she's making her way to the ring, as Monday Night Raw is kicking off, she sees AJ Lee and becomes sort of completely discombobulated, absolutely crashes out, and agrees to wrestle AJ Lee at Elimination Chamber for the number one contendership, essentially, right? Like, Becky Lynch is the Intercontinental Champion. If AJ Lee beats her, she becomes the number one contender, and then you would assume that match would happen at WrestleMania. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think it's pretty obvious that AJ Lee is going to beat Becky Lynch at Elimination Chamber to become the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, and then I would absolutely love, if Becky Lynch retained at WrestleMania. I think right now in the women's division, the Intercontinental Championship is the number one belt. Simply because what Becky Lynch has done with it. The tag team division in WWE women's division WWE is trying to elevate that. And you have Rhea Ripley and Io Sky sort of leading that charge. The Bella Twins return because of the tag team division, which is atrocious. The Bella Twins are probably the worst wrestlers on the roster that we've ever seen. Maybe besides Nia Jax and Jade Cargill, who we'll talk about, who we always talk about. But the tag team division is really something that's being elevated right now. Jade Cargill is having an absolutely horrible championship reign. She hasn't defended her title in over 100 days, and that's simply because WWE wants to hide the fact that she cannot wrestle and cannot work, and so they're being very limited in who she wrestles and how she wrestles and when she wrestles. And so because all of the matches have to be so planned out because she cannot work, that it takes a long time for sort of title defenses to come into play. And so she's going to beat Jordynne Grace, Jade Cargill, and then hopefully she wrestles Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, and Bianca Belair becomes the champion, and then we'll actually have a fighting champion who can work and wrestle, and then Jade Cargill can kind of move along. And then you also have Stephanie Vacour, who's had a mediocre run. She will lose and drop the belt to Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. And so those two championship reigns haven't been amazing. The tag team division is being elevated. So right now, the number one championship in the women's division is the Intercontinental Championship. I don't even know at this point who the United States champion is. That's how little I care about that title right now. But Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship, massive, huge. And I would actually want Becky Lynch to retain and beat AJ Lee at WrestleMania. So AJ Lee beats her at the Elimination Chamber, earns her number one contendership spot, and then they run it back at WrestleMania where Becky Lynch wins and retains, and then maybe we don't see AJ Lee anymore. Because, I do like AJ Lee for the simple fact that she talks and promotes about mental health and mental health awareness and mental health action and therapy, things that I'm really, really, really passionate about. But she also happens to be married to CM Punk, who I think is the biggest fraud and hypocrite and con artist that WWE has ever seen. So the show kicked off there. We saw a really cool tag team match, Alpha Academy, the Usos. But you could still see in that match where the Usos whiffed on multiple kicks. I just don't understand why anyone thinks that Jey Uso should be in high-level singles competition. He's exactly where he needs to be. Elevating the tag team division, pumping up people. He's not going to win the Elimination Chamber. He probably will get into the Elimination Chamber. That makes sense. He will not win. Most likely, I think Randy Orton will win the Elimination Chamber, ? Big question mark there, depending on what happens with the actual Undisputed World Championship. But I just prefer Jey Uso and certainly Jimmy Uso as a tag team in a group. I think the failed Jey Uso experiment can be sort of pushed to the side. And then we also got some big news on the Braun Breaker angle. Now, Braun Breaker is reportedly going to be out for 12 weeks or at worst 6 months following his hernia surgery. So what does this mean for the proposed Braun Breaker Seth Rollins match that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania? Don't know. That's kind of up in the air. Dave Meltzer, dirt sheet sort of reporter, thinks that the Vision needs to add a member to their group. Now that obviously Seth Rollins has been gone from the group, Braun Breaker is gone from the group. Now they have Logan Paul, sort of the massive star, athletic guy. They have Braun Breaker, and they have the up and comer Austin Theory. He thinks they should add another guy. I don't really think they need to. But that's what Dave Meltzer thinks. And so I'm interested to see what happens with the Vision on this road to WrestleMania. And if Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker is still going to happen. It doesn't look like it will, because Braun Breaker is very injured. Hernia surgery is very, very serious. And Seth Rollins is injured too. So we don't know when those two cats are going to meet. But you did see LA Knight. You did see LA Knight actually qualify for the Elimination Chamber. He fought off a lot of the Vision members. We saw the return of the Masked Man, the same Masked Man we saw at the Royal Rumble. Now, the rumor is that person is actually Grayson Waller, who's like portraying the Masked Man. But I think eventually at some point, WWE is just going to say that it was Seth Rollins all along. Now, I don't know. Is Seth Rollins behind the scenes pulling the strings like the architect that he is? Is he pulling the strings to create another group? Because we know Seth Rollins has to be in a group. He does very well in a group. Is he creating behind the scenes another group, sort of a Vision 2.0, to take on the current Vision? Will we see that at WrestleMania? Maybe a 6-man tag match? I don't know. Of course, I want to see Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Of course, I want to see Seth Rollins and some of the Vision members in a marquee matchup. But I don't know where or how it can take place if both guys are still recovering from injury. And I really don't know what Seth Rollins is doing in the background. But it's rumored to be that's Grayson Waller anytime you see the Masked Man. But at some point when Rollins returns, he's going to reveal himself that it was Seth Rollins all along. And so then, speaking of the Vision, you also have the rumor that Logan Paul is going to face Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. So that kind of leaves out what is Bronson Reed going to do and what is Austin Theory going to do. They're going to be part of WrestleMania. Vision is a staple part of Monday Night Raw. It was mostly for Braun Breaker to elevate him, but they're going to keep those guys elevated so that when he comes back, it's even more prestigious to be a part of that group. And so what's Bronson Reed and Austin Theory going to do at WrestleMania? Very good question. What's Seth Rollins going to do at WrestleMania? Very good question. What's Gunther going to do at WrestleMania? Very good question. So those are kind of the open-ended pieces about WrestleMania. Some of the other parts are a little solidified. Even with Logan Paul potentially facing Bad Bunny. And then you had CM Punk and Finn Balor's interaction, which I thought the interaction was fantastic. The problem is that no one fucking on earth believes that Finn Balor is actually going to win this match. So that's the issue. Like, everyone is going into this match assuming that CM Punk is going to win. And that assumption is right, because you have one of the biggest WrestleMania main events already scheduled in CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. WrestleMania Night 2, Las Vegas. Roman Reigns wins. Roman Reigns ends the show. Boom, we kick off into a new era. And then at SummerSlam, Roman Reigns drops the belt, passes the torch to Braun Breaker. That's what I see happening. That's the vision that I have happening. And so I don't think they're going to do a situation where Finn Balor wins at Elimination Chamber and then CM Punk gets his rematch at WrestleMania and now it's a triple threat match. I just don't see that happening. Finn Balor is amazing. He's a big star, but he's not on that level. He is not on the CM Punk Roman Reigns level. And I don't know if he ever will be. It's very late in his career for him to elevate that much to get to that level. And so I think it's a great match. I think it's going to be a great match. They had a great match in Belfast. For all the reasons that I dislike CM Punk so strongly, he does have a really good ability to sell feuds. He does have a really good ability when he's passionate and on the microphone to sell a match. He is very, very good at that, and I will give credit where credit is due. And so people are looking forward to this match of Finn Balor versus CM Punk, which I think is going to be a fantastic match. But the likelihood of Finn Balor winning is almost zero because of how big Roman Reigns versus CM Punk truly is. But I would fucking love if WWE threw me for a curveball, threw me for a loop, surprised the entire world, and had Finn Balor walk out World Heavyweight Champion, and then you have a triple threat match at WrestleMania. simply because I'd love to see CM Punk lose, and I think that would be a massive surprise to every WWE fan on the planet. Now you have one of the biggest matches in a triple threat. Triple threat last year stole the show. Triple threat this year could steal the show, but also that becomes a problem. Now you have multiple multi-man matches with SmackDown's World Heavyweight WWE Championship potentially also being a multi-man match. But there's also a rumor that it's just going to be Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes for the actual WWE Undisputed Championship at Elimination Chamber. Cody Rhodes is going to win that match, and then Randy Orton is going to win the Elimination Chamber, and then we're finally going to see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. That's a potential option. Or Drew McIntyre retains. You're going to see a fatal four-way. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu. Or you're just going to see Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Those are the options sort of for the WWE Undisputed Championship. I just talked about the World Heavyweight Championship. And we're on the road to WrestleMania. So literally anything can happen. But that's my reaction to the February 9th edition of Monday Night Raw. I would love to know what you think in the comments down below. Then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.